What happens when the thing you've barely dared to dream for actually comes true? How does it change you when what you've been believing for and almost given up hope on finally becomes reality? The Redefining Possible podcast spotlights guests with stories of insurmountable odds who have witnessed the impossible become possible with God. Welcome to Redefining Possible. I'm your host, Peyton Hoffman, and with me today is Canadian songwriter and singer Ella Hartt. Ella, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
Oh, it's so amazing to have you in town, first of all, visiting, and to have you on this show. I'm so excited to sit in and talk with you today because I think you might be one of the first singers and songwriters. I've had a couple on here, but you're definitely one of the first to have on here.
Amazing.
So yeah, and you did not intend to be a singer and songwriter.
No, I had originally planned on being an educator, which I did for several years. And then one year I had a very unexpected health incident and we didn't really know what was wrong. And we went to a bunch of specialists and my doctor was quite concerned. And following that time, I decided to go casual with work. And that summer, my mom actually said to me, why don't you record one of the songs we've written? And so from that moment, I started to consider, what that would look like. And so originally, I had never really pictured myself as a singer per se. I'd taken a few lessons growing up, but once I recorded my song, I wanted to release it. And so it was very exciting to step into the country music industry, become an artist officially, and then do songwriting from there. And it's blossomed into something so beautiful that I never really anticipated.
Now, for folks who are listening and watching, you grew up in Canada.
Yes.
You're still in Canada.
Yes.
So what is it like doing country music in Canada? Like, what is the market like? Inform me. I don't know. So
it's amazing.
What is that like?
So we have the Canadian Country Music Association. It's an incredible association that spans the entire country. There are so many different singers, songwriters, producers. There's a big industry, a big community, supportive community that I'm so grateful to be a part of. I mean, I can't imagine having started in any other genre, really. Because I felt so welcomed in initially, because I felt so much a part of what was going on and still do. But it's cool because every province also has a provincial group as well.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So in Alberta, where I live, we have Country Music Alberta. And so that too, we have an awards show. We get together every year. There's some events during the year, same as the larger Canadian music industry as well. So it's fun. I love it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And you, talk about the songwriting aspect of this. I heard you mention like you and your mom, or your mom mentioned to you, hey, why don't you record this?
Yes.
So have you been writing songs? Since you were a kid, is this something new? Like, how did all that come about for you? What was that process?
So I wrote my first song when I was 6 years old.
Stop.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
It was about my dog. It was actually a rap. So I didn't stick with rap.
Yeah. A dog rap should be happening in everyone's life. I agree.
Absolutely. So I started with the rap. Then following that, my mom previously had been a singer-songwriter. She did adult contemporary music. Okay. And then when I was a child, she released a country children's album.
Oh, wow.
And so music was always around me. Yep. I feel like it was something we enjoyed doing together, songwriting. Yeah. And so growing up, we did some of that. In my teen years, I would write with her or friends. And then it's kind of just expanded from there. I started writing with just her. Now I write with other singers, songwriters, producers, and it's really just expanded from what it originally began as.
I love that. It truly was in your blood. That's
absolutely,
it's in your DNA. So I love that. Oh my gosh. And as you started to step into this, were you were obviously getting into territory you'd never personally gotten into before. So what was it like? Talk about the importance of the community. You touched on, you have a great community.
Yes.
In the music industry in Canada. Yeah. But talk a little bit about the importance of community for you, just as a singer and songwriter.
Yeah, I think it's everything because especially going through artistry in particular is quite difficult at times. You doubt yourself, or you question what you're doing. To have my mom there as a stable person, especially her, who had been through it before, she knew what it was like. Then to develop friendships with other artists and be like, oh, you're going through the same thing, or how to do this radio promo, or just kind of getting not only friendship, but also music advice from other people. I think that was huge for me originally when I started, because I hadn't been pursuing artistry since I was 9 years old or anything like that.
Yes.
So it was entirely different, entirely new, an entirely new industry to learn about, learning how to write songs. That was a big deal for me too, being mentored in that area. And I don't know what I would have done without the community, to be honest. It was integral to my growth for sure.
Well, and it's just, you hear so many people who don't have that.
Right.
In this industry, or in, really being here in LA, any industry.
Right.
That just, there's so many people that struggle with that. So I think that's so amazing that the Lord knew you needed that and made sure you had that. And mentors, I'm big into mentoring. And so that is, as you know.
Yes.
So I love that you had professional mentors. Great to have your mom, but I love that you had were they all women or women and men, people who were mentoring you?
Men and women. Yeah. And I was very fortunate to be part of something called Nashville Songwriters Association International. And they are huge on mentorship. Wow. Sometimes it's even anonymous mentorship. You'll send in a song and someone will provide feedback. Okay. I've been in classes with people. I was fortunate to be in a mentorship class with Liz Rose, who wrote a lot of Taylor Swift songs.
Love that. That's incredible.
Yes. Yeah. So she gave me feedback on songs, taught me how to write songs. And it's really amazing just how much knowledge and how much wisdom these people have who've been in the music industry forever, right? And how much they are willing to give back to people who are just beginning, or people who are at the start of their journey. It's really special, because I think, especially with country music, like I mentioned before, people are so down to earth. I remember I met one of my favorite songwriters down in Nashville once, Jeffrey Steele, who did write a lot of Rascal Flatts songs and some of my favorites. And he was so down to earth when I met him. And I felt so welcome, even though I wasn't yet at that level. Yeah.
Well, and it just sounds like you felt very seen.
Absolutely.
By people in the industry, people in the community.
Yeah.
And you've had incredible mentoring. That is, I'm blown away by that, because again, so many people don't have that, or find that really difficult to just figure out who can mentor me, who should I be reaching out to. And I just love that you were kind of plopped right in that.
Yes.
You had that.
Yes.
So talk to me about, you've mentioned Nashville, but you've been in Canada. Talking about the whole, writing songs, going to Nashville, just the back and forth, just really that whole journey, and really what you've seen, how you've seen the Lord move in that journey, because you have been in the U.S., visiting and doing different things and trying to work with people in the U.S. as well. Yeah. So, what's that journey been like? Because that's got to be difficult trying to remotely do all of this.
Yes, especially prior to COVID, it was quite difficult. People didn't as much want to write online. Right. And so it was a lot of in-person writes, and to schedule those, and everyone has a busy schedule no matter what they're doing. But I do feel like, as I've gone to different co-writes, we call them co-writes, when we write with multiple people, I think God has just placed some really amazing people in my life. From one of my very early trips to Nashville, I wrote with someone who was a hit songwriter. I ended up in a room with him. Amazing. And I was obviously shocked, intimidated, and thrilled. But I think it's just, and not even the hit songwriters necessarily are, I obviously have written great songs with them, but my favorite people I've written with are people who I've written with a million times.
Oh, I love that.
And the way that friendships have grown, I think that's one of the biggest things that I appreciate about the songwriting process is I develop so many friendships, and we go deep, and we talk about things in our lives, because that's really where the song comes from, where the story comes from. And I've definitely seen God move in those rooms, whether they've been virtual or physical, been there in person in Nashville, in Canada, in Vancouver, or wherever I've been writing. I just feel like God's always been present. I mean, I've had the privilege of writing with some people who are Christians. So in those cases, we get to pray with each other before we write the song. Yeah. And that is a whole other experience, you know, to write with people who are trusting the Lord for the ideas, for the song, for the melody, for everything that we're creating. And I think I've just seen the fruit of that in terms of, you know, where those songs in particular have gone. And I just remember years ago sitting in my apartment, I was like, you know what, God, I just pray that any of my songs, I said, I don't care if I sing them, I just pray that some of them would be successful. And, you know, that's obviously was a dream. And just a few years ago to see that start to come to pass. And I mean, I've been doing this for a while now, but at the same time, it takes time to see that fruit, but to continue working on those skills, to sit in those writing rooms, to continue writing even when there's nothing going on, I think has been something that has been a challenge at times, but also has been super rewarding when something great does happen. And to celebrate with your friends is the best thing in the world.
What I hear from that is the importance of resilience and perseverance.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about like when you've had to persevere, when you've had to be resilient? Because it is a journey. I think, especially in LA, folks that come to LA, men and women that move to LA, there is this like overnight success dream that is sort of put out there, and it's just not true. I mean, it's not how it happens really for anyone that I know. No. Even the people that seem to be overnight successes have worked for 15 years.
Right.
So I think if you can touch on that, just how it's been in your life for resilience, you know, perseverance, some of the things you've had to go through or come back from, I think that would just really resonate with folks that are listening.
Definitely. I feel like when I originally started, it was very hopeful, this is going to be amazing. I'm going to be on the radio. All these things are going to happen. And those things did happen. However, I think it doesn't always happen the way you think it will. Yeah. And I've been fortunate to have successes that I can, you know, claim, or accolades that I can, you know, be grateful for. But really where the growth has been in those quiet times where nothing is going on, where I feel like I want to quit. Yeah. And, you know, just to have people around me, especially my mom, saying, you know, don't quit, keep going. Or even that small, still voice. I feel like I've definitely heard God's voice when I've been, what am I doing this for? No one's listening to this song, or like, you know, people aren't recording the music, which is, you know, a fallacy. But at the same time, when I've had those thoughts, I feel like there's still a small whisper being like, keep going, keep doing this. You know, in praying with other people about the music industry and about songwriters, I feel a very strong tug to continue on, and feeling like it's my gifting to continue. And so even in those moments where I feel unsure, it's like, I have to know that God is going to work all things together for my good. You know, every seed that I sow, every seed that I plant and water, and, you know, God willing, He blesses because of, you know, my faithfulness to Him. I honestly am so grateful, because I just think, you know, those moments where you want to give up, He shows up, you know, and He shows up later than you expected. And just even, I was thinking about a couple years ago, you know, where I was going through a really rough time. And I think personally, a lot of things were happening, and it really took a toll on my spirit. And it was really difficult. And I remember I had gone on set to visit a friend, and I was standing beside this lady, and she's like, oh, what do you do? And I was telling her, how's a songwriter? I said, what do you do? And she said, I wrote this movie.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, oh, nice to meet you. And so she had said to me, why don't you send me some songs? And, you know, maybe we can consider some for the movie. And my heart was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to send her?
Like, what's happening right now? Yeah.
I know, A, what's happening right now, B, what songs am I going to send her? Because I had never really written a Christian song. Believe it or not.
And it was a Christian movie.
Yes, it was a Christian movie. And so I thought, oh my gosh. So I immediately called my friend down in Nashville who does a lot of sync work, who's also Christian. I said, Shay, I'm like, would you consider writing a song or two for this movie? And he said, yes, I would love to include my friend Bill DeLuigi. Yeah. And with those men, I feel like we met together over FaceTime, because it was technically still COVID times.
Oh, right.
I mean, it was kind of later on in COVID where, you know, things were a bit more normal, but Anyways, that being said,
still easier.
Yes. That being said, we met over on Zoom and we prayed over these songs. We wrote these songs. We recorded them remotely, and it was interesting because having the life experiences I'd had right prior to that, I feel like the songs were very raw, very real.
Yeah.
And to have two of them chosen for the movie was beyond amazing, considering I had just gone through such a difficult time right before. And to have God use that uncertain time, that challenging time for good, it was just, it was amazing. Because I was like, only God could do this.
Only God. Well, and just the fact that you were standing next to the woman that wrote the movie that you were watching, and you were, I mean, just all pieces of that. You were visiting a friend. You were standing next to the woman who happened to write it. She's like, oh, by the way, why don't you send me some songs?
Right.
And just that open door. I mean, that you didn't go to the set that day thinking, oh, how can I get my songs into this movie?
Right.
Like, honestly, because people do approach it like that, where they're thinking, oh, how can I make this happen?
Right.
And what I love about this is you came to it from a place of just surrender, of like, I'm just coming to be there for my friend. I'm coming to support my friend. And the Lord just opened that door. Yes. And I love it. And then you, of course, were obedient and you stepped through it. And you were like, oh, I'm going to write some songs. Yes. Like, what do I write? What do I do?
I'm going to figure it out.
I'm going to figure this out somehow. And, you know, that's so much about our walk with the Lord, of just, you know, anything we're trying to square peg, round hole, you know, make it fit or make it happen is not usually the thing that happens.
Right.
You know, and it's just, I love that he took you on that journey and just showed you such an open door of, oh, actually, I want to have you doing this.
Right.
Had you even considered that? Had that been a dream? No.
No, I feel like I had never thought in a million years, like even growing up, I never thought, oh, I'll have songs in a movie one day. Yeah. That was never a thought in my mind. It was never a thought in my mind to even have a song on the radio.
Wow.
It just, the things that God has done through music have been nothing short than what I would call miraculous in my own life, because it wasn't anything I'd anticipated. And I feel like God just prepares things beforehand for us to walk into.
That's so good.
And I think it's just such a testimony to who he is, that he's a good father, that he's already got it planned. And it's like, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans not to harm you, but to prosper you, to give you a hope and a future. And I think I've just held on to that verse so many times because, not because it's just famous, but because...
not just because it's Jeremiah 29:11, and it's one of the core verses you learn as a Christian, but also because...
it's so real in my life. And I've thought about even the times that, you know, I've applied for opportunities and not got them. And I'm like, you know what? His plan is never to harm me, or never to, you know, to make me hurt over a situation that doesn't work out. But it's like, there's always a plan beyond that. And I think that's something I've held on to as I've progressed in music.
That's so good.
And just the way that he's worked has been really, really awesome.
I love that.
Really praiseworthy.
Yeah, that's amazing to hear. And it just, I know, no matter what situation people are in right now, I mean, that's just, his plan is never to harm you.
Yes.
His plan is never to, it is always to bring good in your life.
Yes.
It is always to do something that is, you know, beautiful. And so if it's a hard situation, if it's a harmful situation, like, that's not, I think just separating those two things out and being like, that's not the Lord's will. Like, that's not, you know, things happen, but he's always going to take the bad things and he's going to make something beautiful. And just, you know, he'll make beauty from the ashes.
100%.
And I love that. I love that so much. And in this whole journey, I mean, you've seen the Lord open some doors.
Yes.
You've had to persevere. Was there ever one moment where it just looked impossible? Like, there might have been many moments, but was there something that really jumps out at you as like, can I even do this?
I feel like there have been many moments like that, you know, and it's not a, you know, I can't do it. It's a moment of like defeat, or, you know, you don't get the opportunity you were hoping for. The time right before the movie, that too felt like when life was going up and down, it felt like, oh, how could anything good come from this? You know, just those moments where God really showed up, and it was like, here's also this opportunity, you know, that was beyond my comprehension, that wasn't even a thought in my mind. I mean, I guess it's those moments where, and I don't think there's always many moments that I could probably look back on where, you know, there was definitely a moment of impossibility. But I think one thing that was really cool is just thinking that my life could have gone a whole different direction, you know, and it could have been good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I had only ever continued being an educator, you know, would I have ever stepped into this other talent that God has given me? Would I have ever stepped into music? Yeah. And I think that when you're growing up, you know, you have all these ideas of what your life will look like. Did I ever think my life would look like it does now? No.
It's completely different.
It is the best possible, you know, way that God could have orchestrated it, orchestrated the events, orchestrated even, you know, me getting sick that year that I started music. Like no one wants to be unwell, but at the same time, it's like, that's what brought me to music. That's what brought me to pursuing something that was life destined. And so I think that I count all of those as joys, if you will. I mean, looking back, it's easier to. In the moment, you're like, oh, this is horrible.
But this is not joy.
No, this is difficult and I don't want to do this. But I think when you see how God works those together, like we were saying, for the good, it's just, it's meaningful, it's purposeful. I think I've always believed that, you know, my life purpose was to help others believe the best about themselves and their lives. So that worked well for being a teacher, but also I feel like I'm able to do that through my music and through, you know, sharing with other people, previously performing as an artist. Like there was so many opportunities where I was able to speak hope into dark situations people were experiencing, or even as I songwrite to call upon those moments, or to go deep into those moments where, you know, I had a challenge. It's like there's a song there that's to be written that can relate to other people who have gone through something similar. And I think that's just the best thing ever when someone says, oh, I relate to that too, or that's me. And you're like, oh my gosh, like, and you had no idea.
I mean, I get that as a writer. As somebody who's written books and published books, I hear from women and men sometimes, even though I've written books for women, but I'll hear husbands and wives will sometimes go through them together. And so I'll hear from women and men of just, you know, that, oh, wait, this really hit me. This, me too. This really, I was in, you know what it's like to be in that place. And I think what's amazing about music and just writing as a creative gift is that it helps people feel not so alone.
Absolutely.
You know, and it helps them feel like you're not the only person that's been going through this.
Definitely.
And I think that just breaking off that lie of isolation, that lie of you're the only person, I think that's so important, specifically about music and just writing in general.
Absolutely.
Has really just a powerful way to be able to transform that.
To connect.
To connect with people. And you've clearly been using it to connect with others and bring hope into others.
Doing my best.
You are. And you've been, I mean, like you said, this was something you didn't even know was possible for your life.
Right.
I mean, so thinking about where you are now, how does the journey up until now, how does that transform or change what you think is possible for your life in the future? I mean, now what?
I mean, I think that I just continue on doing what I'm doing, continue to make friends, continue to write with new people, continue to dream big. Yeah. I think it's always, it's interesting when you originally start something, obviously your hopes are high, and then you go through life and you go through disappointments and that sort of thing. And, you know, it can lessen a bit, but I think most recently what was so amazing that kind of gave me even more hope of a bigger future, if you will. I had gone to make a playlist to send to a publisher, and I'd gone to upload a song I'd written with a girlfriend recently that I was really proud of. Yeah. And I went to upload it, and it said copywritten, and
on your song?
Yes. What? Yes, and I thought, how could this be copywritten? I'm like, we wrote this.
Just wrote it. What?
Yes. So I immediately texted her. I was like, hey, what's going on? Like, I can't upload our song. Did you upload it or something? And she goes, actually, it's going to be on my upcoming album. And I was shocked because we hadn't talked about it at all. It was an amazing surprise. And then she mentioned to me, I'm going to submit it to the Junos, which for us as Canadians is like the Grammy equivalent.
The Grammy equivalent,
Yeah. So I was thrilled, obviously. Yeah. So just to even this past year, this was 2026 to have a song on a Juno nominated album was beyond comprehension for me.
Crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it's amazing what God can do. I mean, when we wrote that song, she said, would you be willing to write a song about skeletons? And I said,
random?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. But I think it became a song where it was confronting things about our past or hurts about our past that are difficult to get through, and trying to heal other people when you're not healing yourself. And I think,
wow, that's powerful.
Yes. Yeah. And so it became this beautiful song that has kind of found its way onto this album. Wow. And, it's really given me a lot of hope to also, like I was mentioning earlier, write what's real, write about the difficult times, but also write about the joyful times, because people also want to be entertained, feel happy when they're listening to music, but also, there are those moments when you just want to hear something that's the way you're feeling. Yeah. And so, I mean, looking forward, I'm very excited, considering that happened this past year. I just think, what's next, Lord? I love that. I'm going to continue on doing what I've been doing, looking for opportunities. Through that opportunity with Elenee, I got asked to be part of a songwriting camp this year.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah,
oh, my goodness.
With Gospel Music Association. And that was something I never imagined either.
Wow.
Because I had gone from a girl who only wanted to write country music, only wanted to sing country music, to writing pop, country rock, and then to be able to write Christian music, which is actually the heart of who I am.
It's wild.
Yeah. It's really unbelievable. I always thought I was going to be, a light in, country music has a lot of faith elements, but I always thought, I'm going to be a light in country. But the fact that I still get to be that, but also get to write about, worshiping the Lord and having songs that are really reflective of my heart and what I'm learning in my personal time with God or with friends. It's really a blessing. It's just, it feels like a whole, just a full circle moment of it's who I've always been, but now I get to do it. All of those.
Well, and you talk about just what you're learning. First of all, I think the most impactful songs are the ones that come from an honest place.
Right.
They come from an authentic place. They come from, this person has lived it.
Yes. And you always know.
You know, and it resonates. I mean, at least I know. I can hear something and be like, nah. Or I can be like, that person has walked through some things.
Right.
And you know. And what resonates with people today, especially with so much that's fake and so much that's just filtered and whatever, is the authentic. Coming back, that's why we do the show. It's like, this is coming back to what's true and what's authentic in each guest's lives and how they've been walking this out with the Lord. And I just love that with you, that the Lord has taken you on such a journey and that you're now writing songs from that deeply intimate personal place with Him, but also just your own life. So how has this changed your faith in the Lord? Like what He can do? Because you're talking about being on that time with Him, and I'm like, I know things have changed. So how does that affect that? How has this changed that for you?
What I think of Him, I think that it's deepened my trust in a huge way, in a way that's really impacted, I trust Him for my future. I trust Him for now. Yeah. I trust that, He's going to put me in the right situations. It's like, yes, I'll do the work. Yes. But there's also an element of, connecting with the right people. And so, and when I say that, all I mean is like connecting with the people that I'm destined to write a song with. I'm not saying connecting necessarily
with... Define the right, quote unquote, people, because that will mean different things to different people that are listening here.
So when I mean the right people, I know I recently met an artist at the Country Music Awards in Alberta, and we talked a bit about her life. I found out she was a Christian, and she had shared she wanted to write a personal song and had asked me would I consider writing it with her. And so I would consider that a divine moment where, the Lord orchestrated that. I was to sit at a different table that evening for the award show. I ended up at her table. And it just felt like it was meant to be. And so I think just watching how he's so in every detail, in every moment. I know there's been so many opportunities. I don't always write with Christian people, but there's been so many moments where, you know, my faith has come up in a co-write, because it's like a conversation. It's like this, but one person's holding a guitar or another instrument, you know, where we chat, we learn about each other's lives, what people are going through, and, you know, what have we been up to lately? And there's so much opportunity to share about Jesus and to share about what he's done in my life, or to share what he's doing in other people's lives. And even in those moments where maybe his name isn't specifically mentioned, there's those opportunities to encourage someone. I love that. Whether they're going through a challenging situation or just a hard day, it's like, you know, you're going to keep going, you know. There is a purpose for what you're doing, and I think it's been life-giving for me to see that. I mean, I was once the younger writer in the room. Now I feel like I'm, not that I'm old, but I feel like as I continue to write with other people, you know, it's almost like my turn to be, in some ways, my turn to be the encourager. My turn to be, for the artist, you know, asking what they need and like writing their story. And I think that's what's been interesting is I love writing my stories, but I also am so now into writing someone else's story and helping them tell that. And that's been huge. That's amazing. That I need God for, because, I mean, I need God for everything, but that in particular, to write something that's authentic to them, to write something that resonates with them, that is also God honoring. I think it's really, God has to be in it, really.
No, 100%. And there's no way we can steward other people's stories without him.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's, you know, again, just that's part of what I feel on this show is, you know, my heart is just to steward people's stories well.
I love that.
And that's what I hear you say about the writing is now that you're writing for others as well, is it's very intimate, it's very personal, and it's very much a trust build. I mean, you have to build that level of trust there. And I love that was the thing that really jumped out to you about the Lord over these last several years, is just how trustworthy he is, and how much he has redefined your sense of trust in him, really, as just having this whole plan and having a journey for you, and it's one that you can trust him to take you on.
Absolutely.
Which I think is so amazing. Just, you know, there's a lot of people that might be listening and be like, oh yeah, I know the Lord has a plan, but like, actually, can I trust him in it?
Right.
And what I hear you saying is like, yeah, you can. And it's actually going to be better.
Absolutely. Because I feel like I don't know the plan. No. I know the day to day. I'll do what he asks of me. But at the same time, it's like he knows the long-term plan. He knows what's happening in the future. He knows what's happening tomorrow. And there's so much rest and peace in that.
There's so much.
I think it's easy to get caught up in the, well, I don't know it, but it's like, I can trust the one who does know. And I can trust that he is good, you know, and he is faithful. He doesn't change. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. And it's like, that's the type of person you want to trust. I don't want to trust myself. You know, my emotions, I'll be different tomorrow. No, just kidding.
You're like, I will be all over the place. No, it's so, I mean, on that topic though, how has this, you know, I was going to ask you, how has this changed your view of yourself? And has this changed, you know, really redefined who Ella is for you? How has that been?
It's redefining what I'm capable of. I think, you know, oftentimes we pigeon ourselves into one career or one idea of ourselves of like, I will always be this, I will always be, you know, focused on X, Y, Z, but to be like, to open my eyes to see that there's something different.
There's more.
Yeah, to see that there is something that I had never even imagined, to look at the relationships I've made and the friendships I've made, you know, it's just, and to manage all of the things that come with being a songwriter, when I was doing artistry, also being an artist, having your own publishing company because you have to represent yourself.
Right. We didn't even get into that.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
There's a whole music business side to it too. That was a huge learning curve that I feel like learning all of that and then having to do the social media and everything that comes with that. I think it just redefined what I was capable of doing on a day-to-day basis. You know, how I could manage all of the things that needed to be done, and it kind of brought out a business side of me.
Which is shocking.
Yes, which I never foresaw.
No.
Absolutely.
Well, and that's such a good point because, as a singer and songwriter, you don't think about, oh, wait, I've got to learn this whole business.
Right.
I mean, you're coming to it from a creative place of, I just want to create.
Yes.
I want to create songs, write things that impact people and are honest and, give glory to God.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, by the way, learn this business. And oh, by the way, this entire industry, learn how to not only survive in it, but excel in it.
Right.
It's not something that somebody just teaches you.
No.
So were you just learning it as you go? I mean, how did that work out for you?
Like I mentioned before, thankfully my mom had been in it previously. It had changed since,
Since her days.
Yes, absolutely. I did a ton of research. I went to classes. I mean, there was all kinds of different music organizations that offer classes about music business. I went to conferences. I kind of went wherever there was somewhere to learn. Wow. I was there learning what I needed to know. Do I still, have things I need to learn? Of course. Yeah. But I think because I wanted to take it seriously, I wanted to know how to do it right.
Yeah.
I wanted to know how to do the business side of it while still being a creative.
Right.
But doing it smartly.
It's huge.
With wisdom, with discernment. So knowing how to do things properly, how to register songs, how to make sure you get paid when they're played, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Those are things and honestly, those are things every artist should know.
Absolutely.
I mean, whether or not they have a manager who applies that and they don't have to do it themselves, it's just important knowledge, I feel.
Absolutely.
And so I love that you went and you just sought that out. You were like, even if somebody else is managing me and handling this for me, I still want to have the basic information. Yeah. Like, I still want to know if something's right or if something's wrong. I still want to know, what should I be looking at? And so I just love that you wanted to be informed and you just wanted, it's wisdom. That's just wisdom of saying, like, I need, I want to make sure I'm not, one, being taken advantage of by anybody.
Right.
That you're just really being wise about navigating the industry and also not having any blind spots as an artist or as a writer.
Absolutely. And I think it's still a learning curve, but now having been in this industry for a while now, I have the privilege of sharing it with other people, sharing what I've learned over time. And I'm not saying that I know everything, but I've learned a few things over the years, which I'm grateful for. And I think just to be able to help people along their journey is huge for me too. I mean, I have a spirit of wanting to help others, and I think it's a great way to do that, to build other people up, but to also share with them, the mistakes I've made or even the things I've done right that can help them as they mature or as they grow and as they continue to develop their audience and develop their, what we call a catalog of music.
So good.
Yeah.
No, I love that so much. Well, and it's very, for you mentioned earlier, like, I'm dreaming big and I'm dreaming, like, okay, dreams, because you're mentoring others now, you're helping them dream big, which is what I heard you say you're doing. And, but you're still dreaming for Ella.
Yes.
So, okay, what's next? What are we dreaming for? What's happening next?
So I think one of the biggest things to me is just to continue on the journey of getting what we call more cuts. I mean, that means more songs recorded by people who believe in the song, who want the song. I would love to have a #1 song. Yeah. If the Lord blessed me with that, I'd be thrilled. Yeah. And I'm not even saying myself singing it, but someone else. I think because now I've taken the role of a writer, it's a little different.
Yes.
But I think it would just be, to me, it'd be a dream to write songs, for a company or to do more, have more, cuts in sync or in a TV show, because I've already had it in the movie, but to have a TV show would be great too.
Kind of fun. Yeah, I love that.
So I'll take whatever the Lord will give me, but at the same time I'll work hard for it, look for those opportunities and just trust Him that He knows best and that whatever opportunities are meant for me will come to me. Will
come forward. Yeah. And I believe that too for you, of course. And it's just, I love to ask people what they're dreaming for, because it really is like that stretching moment of, especially when you've accomplished quite a few things, it's like, hey, no, I'm gonna challenge you to dream big. I'm gonna challenge you to say, like, what's next? Like, what have we not done yet?
Yeah.
And so I love that you're like, I've had songs in a movie, but I'd love to have a TV show. I'd love to have a couple TV shows. I'd love to write with a company.
Yes.
I hadn't thought about that for you. That's incredible. Yeah. That's amazing.
That would be a dream.
Wouldn't that be fun? I mean,
yes.
I think that's amazing. And I love that you're mentoring, younger artists, are you mentoring songwriters as well? Are you kind of working on that too?
I think the mentorship, it doesn't necessarily look like a direct mentorship relationship that might typically be, but I think it's more or less of in the right, oh, hey, let's write this hook a different way, or let's try this and let's try and dig deeper for these lines rather than just saying them plain.
Oh, I love that.
Or saying them in a different way we haven't heard before. And I think that's where really the mentorship comes in. It's like, it's not overt, it's more quiet, more suggestive, more
I love that.
like digging deep into their story. Tell me more about your breakup, or tell me more about your relationship with your dad, or whatever we're writing about.
Yeah.
I think is how I help them to dig a little deeper, and people have helped me do that. And as I've grown as a songwriter, I've sometimes I write very simple songs, sometimes I write really deep songs, and it just kind of depends on the day, the mood. Yeah. But to be able to do that in such a quiet way, but also in a helpful way, I think has been big for me, because I don't ever want to say to someone, oh, I don't care for that line. It's like, there's a way to say it.
There's a way to give feedback.
Yes.
So you've really learned, how to give feedback in a way that there's a reason they wrote the line they wrote.
Yes.
So how do we dig deeper and find out what's actually underneath that?
Yes.
That might be able to be written in a way that's going to impact people more.
Exactly.
So you're helping them dive into, and for some people it might be diving into places they haven't really wanted to go into too much, or maybe they think they can get some surface level songs out, and you can tell it's something deeper.
Yes.
And the deeper thing is going to be the authentic thing.
Yes.
That's what's going to come up.
What really resonates,
Yeah, I just love this theme of authenticity and trust that the Lord has kind of obviously put in you, but that he's really using music for.
Yes.
For the community, but also just in your own life.
Absolutely.
And do you have a just specific process when you're songwriting?
Yes.
Is there, how does Ella do it? I know everyone's different in their process. Do you have a typical process, or is it different every time?
I think I usually follow a similar process. It depends if I'm writing with someone else. I oftentimes will record notes or voice memos in my phone about quick ideas that I think, oh, hey, I'll write a song about this later.
Yep.
They come up all the time.
All the time.
So
yes.
I just have to write them down while I remember them. And then I'll usually bring them to a co-write and say, people will talk about, okay, catching up, that sort of thing. But then we'll sit down and say, okay, let's write now. Does anyone have any ideas for a song? And then whoever is part of the write will usually say, oh, I have this idea about writing a song about my breakup, or this idea writing a song about being hopeful, and people will share their ideas, and oftentimes that's where I'll share my ideas as well. Often it'll be a title or a line for a song, or occasionally a melody too.
Wow.
Where and sometimes you can combine those ideas within the group and say, okay, your idea kind of goes with the idea I have. What if we make a song that's both?
Yes.
Yeah. So sometimes that happens, and it works really well, because then everyone's excited about it. We always kind of vote on whichever one we want to do for the day. Oh, I really like these ideas. Why don't we do this song?
Yeah.
And we'll go through that. And then oftentimes I'll write the chorus first. So what I deem the most important part of the song and the most memorable, and then go back from there to write the verses so that everything points to the main idea.
Yeah. That's actually very structured. I was not thinking it was going to be such a structured process, but that's incredible. It's coming in, having the notes, especially when you get to collaborate and you're feeding off each other in any type of environment. I mean, I think collaboration just makes things better.
Yes,
definitely.
So
that's incredible. But then also, I love that you're like, nope, I write the chorus first every time, and then I want everything to point to that. Is actually a very structured way to go about it and think about it. Yeah, I love that. That's incredible.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes, depending on who you're writing with, they might have a different process. So
Right.
you'll bend to their process, or, you'll come to a conclusion of, how you can best write the song together. I mean, occasionally we'll say, oh, actually I have ideas for the verse, and we'll write that one first. But I think oftentimes it's easiest to write the chorus first, because then you know what the song's about.
You know where to go.
Yes, exactly.
You have a direction. I like that. It's like, nope. It's like following the Lord. Okay, I kind of know where I'm going. So it helps to have a journey and a path of where this is headed.
Absolutely.
So I love that. Okay, well, Ella, tell us, for folks that want to reach out to you, if they want to connect with you, what's the best way to go about that? If they are interested in having you write songs for them, they're watching and listening, all the ways they can get in touch with you.
Okay, so you're welcome to email me, or check out my website, Hartt.com. I'm also on social media, Ella Hartt Music, and I would love to hear from anybody who wants to chat or wants to write a song or even
collaborate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's Hartt for folks that are listening and watching.
Double T.
Yes. 2 T's and Hartt instead of Heart. So just making sure we've got that. And then you do check your social media. It is you. Okay.
Yes.
I always like to ask because sometimes it's a team, it's somebody else.
Right.
People wonder, will this person get back in touch with me? So
yes. And my music is all online as well.
Love it.
On YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music under Ella Hartt. And I even have a music video if people want to watch it.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. We didn't even get into that. But but I love it. Oh, Ella, thank you so much for being here today. This has been so fabulous. I've loved having you on the show and just love seeing you in town because you're a dear friend and I love having you here. But thank you. We will have you back next time you're in town.
Yes.
Hear more. I can't wait to hear more about where the Lord's taking you, what he's doing, and the ways that he's really just, I think, surprising you along the journey.
Absolutely.
It's been so fun. So thank you all so much for joining us today on this episode of Redefining Possible. I'm your host again, Peyton Hoffman. Cannot wait to see you next time.
What happens when the thing you've barely dared to dream for actually comes true? How does it change you when what you've been believing for and almost given up hope on finally becomes reality? The Redefining Possible podcast spotlights guests with stories of insurmountable odds who have witnessed the impossible become possible with God.